All right, I'd like to now invite Melissa Gibbs from the Office of Local Government to the stage. Melissa will be describing some of the obvious role of local government in so much of what we've been talking about today, and in particular the opportunities emerging from the integrated planning and reporting work processes that are going on at the moment. So now please, Melissa, can I invite you to the stage?
Hi everybody, it's great to be here and the office really welcomes the opportunity to present at a forum like this. I'm a fan of the Opal card as well, so I didn't want to be left out of that. It has really revolutionised the way I travel and the way a lot of my friends travel, and it's opened up some opportunities that we didn't have before, and I think has been a real enabler of some of the stuff that we've been talking about today. I've been in my role this is week 3, I think, so please take that in mind. But I have been around local government for many more years than I'm prepared to admit. So to have the opportunity to work in this position has been fantastic for me, and I hope that I'll be able to add some more grist for the mill for what we've been talking about this morning. And I did just want to say that the Office of Local Government has been working with the Premier's Council for Active Living. Put the specs on, I'll be able to see my notes. And we're committed to continuing to work collaboratively with the council, and in working with local government to do all they can to achieve healthy outcomes for their communities. And it was really good to hear about some of the good work that's already happening here and abroad. And I'm particularly looking forward to hearing some of the case studies later on today, because that's really where we can learn from some practical examples. And I just wanted to acknowledge my colleague Karen Legg, who's been working with PCAL for quite some time, long before I came onto the scene at the office. There it works. Okay. So I suppose we can't really talk about local government and its role without talking about the integrated planning and reporting framework. How many people here are familiar with the framework? Oh, good. Okay, so I'm talking to the converted. It is, as you all know, it sits within the Local Government Act, and it's a really important and quite powerful way for local government to engage with their communities and plan with their communities. And it's built upon a really strong foundation of community engagement, and it's aimed not only at addressing the traditional triple bottom line, but the quadruple bottom line as well. So it has a really strong focus on civic leadership as well as the traditional ones of social, economic and environmental. The lead document in the integrated planning framework is the Community Strategic Plan, as you all know, and that's developed by the Council in conjunction with the community and on behalf of the community, and it's the document under which all of the other plans cascade, so it's quite a powerful and important planning tool. And also importantly, the Community Strategic Plan that's developed by the Council also has to address New South Wales Government priorities. So that's an opportunity for state government to ensure that local government plans reflect state priorities. And development of the Community Strategic Plan presents an opportunity for stakeholders to get involved and to try and to influence the development of that plan. And we're aware that local health districts are often engaged in developing those plans, and other stakeholders to identify the local health priorities that can be incorporated into those plans along the way as they're developed. And it's also a really good opportunity for stakeholders to engage with local councillors, because the local councillors have a really important role in adopting the plan, but also being responsible for its delivery during the term of the elected council. So when it comes to developing the plan, they're very much engaged, and it's an opportunity, as I said, to ensure awareness of some of the health and fitness priorities that stakeholders would have. Our office recently worked with PCAL to support the development of an online planning resource, and there's a brochure in your packs about this. I'm told that it went live last night, so it's been designed to assist councils to incorporate active living and healthy eating strategies into their suite of IP&R documents. And I'd encourage you to get online, have a look, have a play. I love all these online things. So I'm certainly going to go back to the office and have a play with it, and you know, walk your way through it and become familiar with it. And please use it if you're from local government in your planning for your community strategic plan. And while it's targeted to local councils, it's also a really valuable tool for local health districts and other stakeholders to help them understand how they can influence local government and get involved in the development of those important strategic planning documents that I spoke about. And one of the strengths, I think, is about that includes a lot of real-life strategies and real-life case studies. I come from local government, and when I was working in local government, I used to love case studies because it really helped you to see how you could put into practice some of these concepts. And in my previous life with the Australian Centre of Excellence for Local Government, I can remember talking to some of our students about how they learn from each other and how they like to learn, and some of the things that they talked about was, you know, ripping ideas off other councils, off their peers, this peer-to-peer learning thing, and that's why case studies are so powerful. People just love knowing that someone's tried the idea before and has succeeded. They also like to know what hasn't worked so they can avoid that, and also, you know, as a bit of a reality check for their own work planning. So please have a good look at it. And of course, we're going to be hearing about one of those case studies after I've spoken from Western Sydney. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that too. So in terms of influencing local government, getting the timing right is really important. IPNR is a cycle of planning, and it's a fairly rigid cycle of planning. So it's quite easy to determine when the best place is to get involved in the planning process. And at the beginning of each council term is a really good time to engage because that begins the new planning cycle. So keep that in mind when it comes to thinking about how to engage with local government. So each incoming council adopts a 4-year delivery program, and that outlines to the community the commitment that the council has in implementing actions in the community strategic plan and how they intend to be accountable for that. And in an ideal world, those plans the delivery program cascades down into an annual program, which can also cascade into senior officer performance agreements. So it can be quite a powerful way of actually delivering some really tangible outcomes for communities. So most councils are now beginning to think about and to start planning for the new cycle in the lead up to local government elections, which are planned for the end of 2016, September 2016. So please talk to the corporate planning people in your local council if you'd like to get involved, because now is the time that people are thinking about that new planning cycle. But think also about what you can bring to those discussions. Local councils like to hear about solutions as well as problems, so come along with some solutions to some problems, and you'll get a much better reception, I find. So it can't have escaped your notice that the local government landscape may be changing in the coming months. We can't open the paper or listen to the radio without hearing about it, and you'd be aware that there are a number of merger proposals which are currently being considered, and things are in a bit of a state of flux at the moment. However, regardless of what the map of New South Wales looks like and the council boundaries look like in future, even new councils will need to go through this community strategic planning process and the integrated planning and reporting process. So nothing will really change in that respect. The process will be the same. The councils might be a little bit unfocused because they'll be going through some very important and difficult changes and very large changes. So just bear that in mind when you want to engage over the next little while. But there are some other initiatives underway. The focus is on the mergers, obviously. That's the most emotional and attention-grabbing stuff. But there are some other reforms happening which are equally important and quite significant. And one of them is the emergence of regional joint organisations. I'm sure that those from regional centres or centres outside of Sydney will have heard about the JO concept And we're going to be establishing under the Local Government Act a new form of statutory body called the Joint Organisation outside of metropolitan Sydney. And that'll be a formal, structured way for regional councils to engage with each other, but also with state agencies and other stakeholders in their region. They'll have a strategic planning function, not in a statutory sense, but in a legislative sense, where they'll be bringing together all of those community strategic plans and agreeing on regional priorities and working together to realise some of those regional strategic priorities. So they'll be a really important mechanism and quite a very useful mechanism out in the regions for stakeholders to consider. The Far West initiative is another one that's bubbling away, and that's really exciting as well. That's for the 8 councils in the far west of the state. They have particular challenges due to their remoteness, due to their sparse populations, due to their low rating base. They struggle, frankly, along with their counterparts in other states. It's not a New South Wales thing, but we're working with the Far West councils to look at models of service delivery, look at models of governance, and there's some opportunities potentially in the Far West. And I suppose I'm raising this because everybody who's got an interest in health and wellbeing really need to be aware of the current state of local government reform in this state. And I think having coming into the office and seeing how much is going on behind the scenes, this is probably the most reform we've seen in New South Wales for a number of decades, I'd argue. As I said, the mergers are taking up all the hot air, but there's a lot of other reform happening as well, including a new Local Government Act, which is being undertaken in stages. And the Office of Local Government has put out an exploratory paper, an explanatory paper, talking about the reforms to the Local Government Act, and we're currently out there for engagement at the moment, so please take the opportunity to have your say on what you think about some of the ideas in that explanatory paper. Submissions are open until the 15th of March. And we're looking at reviewing the Act in a series of stages, and stage 1 is designed initially to promote independent and sustainable councils that are accountable to their communities. And the explanatory paper proposes replacing the council charter with provisions that describe the local government and establish guiding principles for local government. And the proposed role of local government really puts healthy communities right up in the very, very front. And it suggests that the role of local government should be to enable local communities to be healthy and prosperous by, and it lists a range of different things, including providing strong and effective leadership, planning and decision making, working collaboratively with other bodies, effective stewardship of asset and lands, and providing value for money, and strategically planning for effective and efficient services are the things that you would normally see. But I suppose I wanted to bring that to your attention because talking to some of my colleagues in the office, that's the number one thing that's in the explanatory paper, the focus on healthy and prosperous communities. So it really does embed and entrench healthy living into the role of local government in the legislative framework. So I think that's all I wanted to say. The obligatory slide for further questions and places to go to for further information about the office and some of its activities. And thank you very much for your attention.